So, hoping that this one's at least a little bit closer.
I mean, it should be. From the names at the very least, I think those two are. Yeah, I think it would be surprising for either of those names to ever get stomped in a best of 5 completely.
Absolutely. Especially two names with such history against each other. You know, we go back to Katowice, 2019. Oh, you know, legends were made with these two names. In the top left-hand side, our red Zerg player is Serral.
And in the bottom right, his opponent spawning in the blue, it's soO.
So we're going to start up on Simulacrum. Is anything I guess you're expecting to see from these guys overall in the series? Like a good mix of builds? Do you think there's going to be one guy who's maybe more aggressive than the other throughout this, or?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a mixture. I think both are going to throw in some aggression. I know Serral prefers playing just standard, but he always, no matter who he's playing against, as long as it's a good player, he always mixes in some aggression himself. So he usually plans it out before the series, and he already knows, okay, game 1 my opponent is going to roachal in me because it's Simulacrum, so I'm just going to play passive, that kind of stuff, and then game 2 I'm going to do something aggressive. And some other game is going to go muta. I think that's how he works. So he usually plans out the series beforehand. Obviously, I don't exactly know what he's going to do on which map, but for example, thoughts about series planning in ZVZ are like map-specific things. For example, Simulacrum is very, very good for muta, very bad for playing normal against muta. So maybe you expect your opponent to go into muta, you go for a roachal, and those kind of mind games come into play.
Lots to think about. Yeah, obviously Serral is one of those guys who's, you know, part of him being so scary is that he has so much ready to go. He doesn't just do the same thing every time, right? So, has a real mastery of a lot of different styles. As obviously this game, at least for the moment, opens up pretty standard, but of course just 2 minutes in and plenty of time for this to start taking some twists and turns. So we're going to start up with the 4 Zerglings, and soO just going to keep on building drones, so a little greedier. Anything in particular you try and get with these 4 lings?
Yeah, I think he's gonna try to get some HP pressure on the third hatchery of soO. It's very uncommon. Usually you only go for 2 links max at the start if you don't want to do anything aggressive afterwards, because you actually have to get the overlord earlier in order to get the 4 links when the pool is done, which means you have a drone mining a little bit less, so it's less economic. It is a little bit safer against stuff like 13-12, but I'm pretty sure Serral is confident that he can defend that sort of stuff also with 2 links. So he is indeed just going to come to the third base of soO, trying to get some HP damage done. And maybe he's going to follow that with like some pressure of 27-28 drones.
Alright, well, watching for that. Obviously, both of them going into that bane nest. soO trying to bait Serral off there already, and Serral in the end is just going to leave, keep those lings healthy, which of course means they can come in as part of that pressure as well when he starts building up those Zerglings. So, setting up for that right now, and of course that should time out around the time the bane nest comes in. By keeping these lings up, he can obviously move these back, and what he's doing is he's getting ready to morph banelings with them, right? So, he'll have banelings on this side of the map already by the time the rest of his lings come across, so it seems to be the plan as he splits them up a couple different directions. 2 of them are going to be found, and soO doesn't see the other 2. So he will get 2 banes up and running as ling speed kicks in for either side. And obviously the rest of Serral's lings now coming across the map. A few less drones than soO, so it is on soO to defend here.
Yeah, pretty standard opening. Serral's actually making more Zerglings right now, which is more in the uncommon side. Usually you spend your first 2 injects for Zerglings and then you drone up afterwards. He made 6 to 8 more Zerglings than I would usually expect. He also already did get the hatch past half HP.
Yeah, very low. So gotta be careful of those bane lanes. Hatch has more banes of his own coming down. He's gonna get, well, kind of a mix of nothing there. Oh, all gonna go down. He does get rid of a couple of the final lings, but not too much done. A few lings still in the main.
Yep. And you're actually going for a Roachborn for lob, so he will all in after that as well. As I said, very, very common on this map because Muta is so strong on this map that also makes Roach, so layer-less Roach run-ins a lot more common as well. And also hides it away behind the natural while making an Evo Chamber obviously being fake. Now, if I was soO, I would find this a little bit suspicious that the Evo Chamber is so late, but soO is gonna go for counter pressure himself.
Ooh, there's a couple Banelings. Actually get pretty nice shots, getting quite a few of the Zerglings here. So Serral gonna have an alright time. He's gonna have one Bane finishing up on the rest of those Lings and now Queens. Still not able to just focus on the Banes, but he does get rid of them. And he is gonna clean this up, keeping his Queens alive. No drones lost. Now Roach production started. I mean, this is really bad for soO, right? Like down a couple drones and his opponent building Roaches already.
Yeah, and he's going mute as well. So that's
Okay,
that's
wow.
worst case.
Definitely ain't looking pretty then, because Serral has getting a few extra Zerglings up and running. A lot of them coming across the map already, and Group Team are coming down towards the coming down the ramp there. It's gonna get picked off right away as well. A couple extra Banes, and the Roaches not moving across yet, but waiting to pick their moment.
Yeah, I think he's gonna wait to gather a couple more Roaches. I actually really dislike creep spreading if you play Muta because it helps the Roach attacks a lot. Offensively, so I think like I even wouldn't connect bases with creep if I was the Muta player in that scenario. But soO actually sneaking out a couple of Zerglings. Serral does have an Overlord there, so he did in theory see the Zerglings move out. These Zerglings could cut off some reinforcements as the Roaches actually decide to move out finally.
Yeah, he's gonna go, and he's actually just gonna dive all the way into the main. So trying to maybe pull a couple units back, which he will. Of course, at the same time, there's still a lot of Roaches already across the map here, and Serral sitting 30 army supply ahead. soO's figured this out very late, of course, so kind of just now starting the Spine Crawlers. They're nowhere near being done. The third hatchery, at the very least, is in a lot of trouble. Lings alone will go deal with that. As Roaches come forwards, a couple of the Banes already being targeted down. Some of the Banes itself just trying to get in towards the Spine Crawlers, make those easier targets, and well, soO's going to have nothing left, and Serral will pick up a fast game one.
Necessarily, or will enjoy this map in ZVZ.
Alright, awesome. That's a nice little intro to it then, as we have a blue Zerg who's down a map, starting us off this time around on Purity and Industry in the 3 o'clock position. It is soO.
And up 1-0 in the top center of the map. It's the Finnish Zerg player playing for TM Ents. It's Serral.
Do you reckon it's just a very standard hatch gas pool kind of map?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I watched the other game and I saw the sport crawler thing from sort of and thought it was kind of cute.
Yeah. There's that's one of those things that I can't remember the name of that map. That was like awesome. The last
Habitation Station? Maybe?
No, but that did used to have on Habitation, right?
Yeah.
There was another map that we had in the map pool that was like very close spawns, and it had like gold bases in between even, I think. It was like very close by. I can't remember it at all. It was around for like a season, and no one ever played it because it was terrible.
Like Redshift, I think, maybe for that?
No, that was like... The Redshift had both bases on the left side, right?
Yeah.
No, this was like... It was almost in this like same spawning locations as well. It was... I can't remember what it was, but it was around the time of the Mothership Core. Because the Terrans just used to... The Terrans couldn't open Reaper expand because the Mothership Core would fly across the map and just kill them. It was like... It was like... Everyone would like
was
this...
it like Arena, maybe?
Lorena? No, it wasn't Lorena either.
We had a lot of maps actually.
yeah, you're coming up with like every map name that I didn't think about, but I can't quite remember it. It was really dumb though, and obviously like it sparked up so much conversation. Everyone's like, well, just don't open Reaper expand, and then all the pros say this, and they're like, they're hiding a dark shine in the main base. I'm like, well, guys, come on, you're telling us not to scout, and you're making DTs. Like, disgusting, absolutely disgusting.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out what that map pool is. What that map is.
Yeah, I mean, these maps they play out usually poorly for Zerg because the harassment options of Protoss and Terran are usually by air, so they arrive sooner than on other maps. And usually the rush distance is also not that big on these maps, but in ZVZ, that just means that your first Overlord actually gets to your opponent's main base and can see exactly what's going on. So it's really nice for standard players, for players that are confident in their macro game. This also super easy to defend the third base on this map. Just in general, a nice, like it's possibly my favorite map in this map pool in ZVZ. Well, it isn't realistically, but in theory, I think it should be. It's just because I hate it so much in the other matchups that I can't stand this map.
I guess that makes sense. I'm really determined to find this map. I'm gonna find it at some point. I swear down. There's so many maps that have been in the map pool for like one season only. I didn't realize.
Yeah. It's
I remember none of them, and I'm looking at the images, and I'm very aware of why, because they look terrible. But
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I thought Zen was one of these. I actually got away with playing 0 games on Zen
yeah,
during the last season. I didn't play a single competitive game on it, and I also vetoed it on ladder. And now this map comes along, and all these maps suck for Zerg, so I actually have to unveto it and learn the map where everyone already knows everything about Zen. So that was a little bit unlucky.
when was the mothership for? It was Legacy of the Void, right? Must
Yeah.
be. I'm determined to find this. To keep talking about this Rotron and melee upgrade, and I'm gonna
Sure.
I'm
So
gonna investigate.
so soO's going +1 melee. This to Serral right now looks like a standard opening because Serral saw the Evo chamber upgraded before the layer started. Which means he thinks it's going to be +1 missile. If you actually go +1 melee and then into Mutas, this is usually a mind game where it's supposed to look standard, and it's not. It's not actually safe at all. Like you die against reactive Nidus worms, that kind of stuff, because the opposing layer is supposed to be started at the same time, because you also started the layer, obviously, even as the Roach player at the next 100 gas. So you spend your gas, missile attacks, and then layer. Serral has it a little bit later now than soO. But that's because he made some safety roaches. He actually skipped the Baning Nest.
I found it. It's called Dash and Terminal,
Oh.
and it has a 55% win rate for Protoss against Terran. Oh yeah. All right, cool. So, as fire drops, I was determined to find it, man. I've brought it up too many times since this map came out, so I was very ready for to actually figure it out. Great timing, I know. All right.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, Serral's costed 2 spines, which is a dead giveaway for Mutas. This is actually not good for soO at all. If he didn't make those spines, Serral would not have known. And the spines are not even good because soO thought maybe Serral is going for the all-in since he skipped the Baning Nest. Serral is not doing that at all. He just went for 7 safety roaches, which basically are supposed to also force the opponent into... Well, first of all, what the roaches do is they deny the scouting, but then they also kind of force defensive reactions, which they did here. So that's great. Actually picks up 2 queens, and that's big
really
because
nice.
it's playing Muta.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy. Lots of anti-air going down. Not the sort of thing you want to have happen as Serral right there. So that's a little bit of a shame, as obviously the Spire is about to be done. So Mutas are going to be up in the moment too. And soO can start to get on the map and get aggressive with this.
Yeah, Serral going for the Infestation Pit response, so he's gonna go Mass Roach Queen into a very quick hive. This is very good against 3-base Muta, but it's not that great against... I think in general, if you play Muta on this map, you should go super high drone count right away, and you should take the gold base and the rich gas base. Because you can't push against Muta. So
Yeah.
this is... I do not really like this... the way soO droned up. I think he was playing it too safe. I think you need to cut some corners, especially if you're on this map. And then one thing that is a little bit bad for Serral is that he just realized, because usually if he plays against us, he can make defensive banelings. He doesn't have a baneling nest, so...
We're gonna see these roaches are just gonna try and protect. He loses another queen though, as the Mutas are showing up. He's gonna run the roaches across the map to try and buy some time for a couple seconds, get his queens back into bases. And actually is just waiting on a couple spores to finish still. Some are done, here and there. Just depends where you're looking.
That's not that many Mutas, actually. I don't think this link trade was worth it, honestly. I think Serral is being too afraid with his queens. I think if you went with all 4 at once, you don't trade there as the Muta player.
There's a couple queens. They have a transfusion. He missed the transfusion on the other queen though, so... This is another queen. It's really been the death of queens this game. 5 queens already down. Definitely hurts as soO. Just gonna take another base, not gonna stretch out and get to one of the rich Vespene guys with the gold base or anything crazy. He's just gonna stick to his regular fourth, so as these roaches taking a little bit more of a beating, he is finally gonna be on infestors in a moment or two, so you can get up towards some fungals and make life a bit scarier here for soO, but again at the cost of another queen right now.
Yeah, this is annoying. soO is not even forced to make banelings because there is no Hydras yet. I really think Serral just lacked a single spore core that was ready in between the bases there, and he would have been completely fine. I also cannot believe that soO is not taking the rich gas base. I think you should either take one rich gas base and a gold base, or both rich gas bases as the meetup here.
Like it got absolutely crazy.
No, like it's actually an insanely big mistake.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, that's insane. Well, fungal growth drops, but the queens just aren't really collected together enough to take advantage of it. I mean, Spore's able to do a little bit here and there. But still, I mean, you've only lost 4 Mutalisks in all of this, and you've now lost 2 of his Infestors. So, out of the 3 Infestors he made, 2 are down. He is getting energy on Vipers, but the Mutalisks just know. I think he might have seen them or something, because he's just going to go straight in, and he finds 2 of them. He has to fly through some spores, but that's kind of okay. Well, that's a little bit expensive towards the end.
Yeah, that's worth it. Serral is also overmaking roaches. There's no real threat on the ground. I mean, the Infestors are mainly actually supposed to be against Baneling run-bys. But, I mean, this map, honestly, usually it's pretty easy to secure a fort base, but just the initial, the Zerglings killing 2 queens made it so much harder for Serral to ever even get in between his natural and third base. And also made it realistically a lot harder for him to ever think about getting a forward. I honestly, personally, I tried this style a lot, and I tried Lurker a lot, and I actually prefer Lurker over very quick hive.
As you see, these queens gonna come in again. There's just no follow-up to these like fungal growths, right? Like, you can drop a fungal, but then the next one isn't ready. The queen count isn't really too scary. The Vipers just weren't in position to drop the parasitic bombs. I mean, a couple of parasitic bombs here, and maybe it's a very different story, but right now, it's not the case.
Yeah, I mean, soO's not exactly in the greatest of positions either. He just started his hive, and he has 80 drones. Usually meta players, at least in the EU, make even more drones, like up to 90, up to 80, and you can mine more efficiently with the drones as well on this map, as I said before. But he starts using his money now into Banelings. This is obviously where things can go wrong for soO as well, because there are the Infestors. Their Lurker is not done yet, but really cute wall with the roaches here.
Yeah, hits a couple of parasitic bombs initially. Good splits from soO. Just pulling those Mutalisks away, of course, and not letting them kill off the rest of his army as well. So it's a good little split or so. Roaches and Hydras of Serral setting up between the natural and the third base still. And these Vipers going to grow, grabbing a little bit of life off this extractor here.
Yeah, Serral just planning on turtling. Once he has Lurkers, he's expanding, which is going to be super late. Oh, soO actually forgot Baneling speed, I just realized that. And yeah, soO I think is just waiting for Serral to expand, because you don't really want to attack into these 3 bases. But as I said before, this fourth base, it doesn't really...
Yeah.
Exactly, it doesn't really spread you much more. Like, the army just stands there with the wall on the left side. You can even make an evolution chamber wall on the left side, but... Like, I feel like if soO just expanded faster, I would see him as a, like, 95% favorite right now, but as the way he's doing it with taking these bases, I mean, he's taking a 6 base right now, but he's taking the safe bases first, which, if you play Mula, you should take the bases on the other side of the map first.
And mine that out, and then later in the game when it gets a bit weirder, you go back to the easy to hold bases, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And Serral is at least finally getting that 4th up. He's got Lurkers now, which means that these Banes are going to have a worse time they would have done a little while ago, but he doesn't hit any fungals on the Banes, so they do get to connect. A couple of parasitic bombs hitting a lot of the Mutalisks right now, and they're still not splitting up properly until the very end. Oh my god. Wow.
Yeah. Parasitic bombs don't actually one-shot Mutas, so you do need to put one a little bit earlier than the next, instead of using them all at the same time.
A little bit unfortunate there, but at the same time, soO just lost a lot, because he also had this attack running on the left side, and the Lurkers just picked up a ton of kills over on the left side as well. So really, Serral just, holding out, not quite maxed out again, and soO has a bank still, but obviously that's the sort of fight where soO, yes, he can afford it, but you can't do that again and again and again and again if Serral's now on 4 bases, as he just loses 8 drones though.
Oh, he's actually going into the Broodlord transition. I think this is one of the best ways of throwing the game, but Serral is not expecting it. One thing that Serral is actually really good at against me is scouting, which we saw earlier. He ran in some overseers, even while he was being pressured, to follow up scout the hive timing, but he has no idea about the Great Respire. This is not something I think that his mind is on, because not a single person has right mind, you would think, makes Broodlords against Viper Sport Crawler. But Koreans for some reason I think that's a good idea. And if it catches you completely off guard, and there are not that many spore crawlers, it can work because you are expecting the ultras, and your main army is just going to be mass lurker.
Yeah. And now 14 Broodlords build. Oh dear. Well, that's
Yeah,
gonna be an interesting one to figure out. He's gonna burrow some roaches. They might find the broods.
What did you see them? He's making extra spores. Like, all you need against this is just some spores. Spores are extremely good against Broodlords.
Yeah, they kill them so quickly. It's surprising. And obviously you can just abduct them in. I mean, even if he didn't know, I think he's going to see them soon, because he's going to see them with these burrowed roaches. He'd be very unlucky not to. He sees them. So he sees the Broodlords flying, so he has a little bit of extra time to prepare. And he does have a good
all the spores forward now. He needs to move all the spores forward now. Make sure to abduct them one by one. This is a lot of Broodlords. It's 14 Broodlords. But you're gonna see how fast they die.
Yeah, at the same time, you've obviously got the, there you go, the abducts coming in, and you see the first couple already disappearing really quickly, so they are going down. A couple more abducted in as well, and Serral is holding this off while also dealing damage across the map. He sent a bunch of his roaches across with that burrow play, and he's killed drones, and he's continuing to do more as well. He's still in the main, and the natural expansion will look back there soon, but I mean, for the moment, we've still got Broodlords just being picked off one at a time, and they're doing absolutely nothing. Oh my god.
I am so glad that this game has happened, because Special actually has been making fun of me. I said Broodlord is literally the worst thing you can do in ZVZ. But Ragnarok, or no, I think Rogue won a game against Vayner where he was miles ahead with the Broodlord transition, so he kept making fun of me for that. But we could see in this game how truly terrible they are, because all you really need to do is put all the spores to the front, which you already have 1 million spores because you play against Muta, and then you abduct them, and you already have Vipers because you're, well, against Muta.
Yeah, I see it. I see it. So now soO, he's actually been brought down to equal drone count of soO, which, yeah, he's got the bases, but if you're just mining the same amount anyways, it doesn't really matter. And Serral feels safe enough to get this base up to the side now as well. So try and get to base 5. How badly does he need creep out towards that 5th base, though? It must be fairly important, right?
I usually would say extremely important, but his opponent is still making Broodlord, so I'm not sure anymore.
Well, I mean, I'll take it as an answer. As we're going to see how Hydra's just pulling back towards these spores, and the broods are going to be camping out towards the center of the map. Mutalisks hanging around as well. And these broods still just continuing forwards here, so they're going to go for round 2. You know what, after the first 11 broods died, I really thought we'd seen, you know, the brood transition and we're going to move away, but apparently not. The broods, they come to die again. A few Balins roll in, but this lurkers do their job there. And these Vipers are out of abduct energy, actually, which is the only reason these Broodlords he's making more.
Why? What? Man, look, check the resources lost.
11,000 difference. Oh my god. I yeah, I don't get it. I have no idea what soO's seen in this, where he's like, oh, this is eventually gonna work. I've got nothing.
It's like, I don't know. I mean, he just threw the game with the Broodlords, honestly.
So, a little bit of lurker harassment from the high ground. So, just hanging around up here, and a few extra spores building up as Serral secures himself that 5th base as well, so that's obviously one of the things that does get a little bit dicey, right? You know, you're 18 minutes in and your main is mined out, your natural and 3rd well on the way, so you kind of need to get up to base 5. So nice that he gets there, and that should really just solidify the lead he has. It's more
no. See, like, this is why I make fun of Korean ZVZ. I don't... like, people always say, oh, but you lose against Korean Zergs. I'm like, yeah, that's not my point. They do stupid shit, and yeah, that's it.
How many Broodlords do you think you have to lose before you don't make more?
I mean, I think at this point he lost because he has no transition. Like, you can't play Ultra into this either, and he has no range upgrade, so you can't go Lurker. I think it's you need to catch your opponent by surprise, and then if it doesn't work, I think the best way is probably make 100 drones, try to play Ultra, something like that. But I don't know. I would not have made any after the first wave already.
Yeah. Well, we're going to see Lurkers and Hydras making their way across the map. The Mutalisks are going to make their way across, but they're going to fly into a wall of Spore Crawlers, so not exactly going to have the best time himself. Serral's going to decide to back away for the moment. He's chasing down the mutas and he gets a parasitic bomb, but that'll be about it. Some extra Banes from soO going to be rallied across and towards this mineral line. There's a bunch of high-energy infestors, so if Serral sees it coming, he should be able to respond. Just depends on his reaction time. And it's not going to be good enough here, so that is going to be a dead mineral line and a dead hatchery as well. So, I mean, that's something for soO at least, finally. Maybe the Broodlords were just a distraction, so he could slowly but surely take down this base. I mean...
Maybe it's just for making Serral overconfident, and then when he finally moves out, because he thinks Broodlords are bad, Ultra show up and surround him.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess it could play like that as well.
He's making like, I didn't even realize that he has 0 character upgrades.
These ultras are gonna die. They're not gonna be that good. As mutas come in and kill a few drones. Oh, the Viper's kind of on their own. Drops a parasitic bomb defensively and forces that split away. And just going to be seen. I mean, soO's been able to remax out. Like, he did have the bases to mine from. It's just been a case of not really, you know, of how, you know, he used to have so much more. And right now his composition still doesn't exactly look great as these roaches pop up. Just going to try and get a couple more drones, but we're back. Again, Serral continuing with the harassment here.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to play this optimally, you never attack as Serral. And I'm not sure how much he's gonna try hard for this game. Like, if this was a BlizzCon finance, that he will just expand base one by one, slowly creep forward. That's the way you're supposed to play it, because if you ever do get surrounded and get blinding clouded on your lurkers, ultras can clean you up. And I guess Broodlords can shoot a little bit longer because there are no spores, but I mean, he knows how well he traded, I'm pretty sure. At some point at least he's gonna do something, or at least I hope so.
Riddler's actually starting to fall down as well. They're flying into one parasitic bomb and out of one and into another. Well, you come out Broodlords, the Ultras, and the Banelings as well to try and come in on the ground. The Broods, well, they're going to get parasitic bombed actually, and they're just going to start dropping down pretty low on HP as well. Leaving the Lurkers just with the Broodlings. I mean, yeah, you can just see how ridiculous it is. These Broods didn't do anything again.
So bad.
Yeah, I mean, there's a point at which you just can't say much else about it. So he types out GG, he can't do much else about it. So I was gonna tie this up. Sorry, so I was gonna take this to a soon, just because the game got going. So this is game 3 of this quarterfinal matchup, as in the bottom left-hand side of Eternal Empire, how Blue Zerg is Serral.
And in the top right, he's down 0-2. Can he make the comeback? It's the red Zerg player playing, actually, for Team Africa, I think, soO.
The Africa Freaks. Yeah, kind of cool. I actually thought when Africa picked up a few players, they were also going to play in the China Team Championship, and they just didn't. It was kind of surprising. I guess kind of not as well, because they also picked up soO and Stats who can't play offline much more this year, so...
Alright, yeah.
Yeah, because they're getting a bit too old.
Yep. Yeah, that's always rough. But he can still try to show his best games before he gets to the army.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, I mean, this is another opportunity, but he's up against the ropes this time. This is also another map that is... this map actually has a very good setup to defend mutas on, but it has many rich Vespin gas bases, which makes muta very good. Now, last game we saw soO play muta and not take the rich gas bases, but there's no way on this map he won't take it, because it's literally his normal fourth base. Usually if you play muta, actually you go 90 drones on this map, and then you take this rich gas base, and then you take your opponent's rich gas base to the right. Yeah, this one. Like, you can be really aggressive. Like, you could see in the last game, right, how Serral could never move out, right? Yeah. It's really, really good to take those bases, because you need less drones to mine, so your army can still be big while you mine more efficiently. And this is even a base that your opponent is going to take as a 6 base, right? So some of the things maybe the Koreans haven't quite figured out yet. But
yeah,
we're actually... Oh, no,
I was just going to say, we saw a laser. I was doing that earlier against sort of as well. And it's actually the first time I think I've seen it. Maybe I've just really not watched ZVZ lately. But it's the first time I saw someone taking the other guy's rich Vespine base. So, yeah. Pretty cool that that's actually just the meta.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I did take it as well against Rainer, but I died at the same time, so...
Oh, really? Did I cast
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I
I'm
did.
not sure. I can't remember.
Was it? This was yesterday, right?
Yeah, it was yesterday.
You probably died before I saw it. You know, bad observer, all that shenanigans.
Yeah, and I mean, in that case, I should have not taken it because you all me with Corruptors, but...
Yeah, I remember. I do remember now. As Bane nests come down, I'm gonna get into a little bit of Ling Bane here. And to get this up and running and see what's gonna happen.
Yep, the next thing we of course have to watch out for again is when do these evolution chambers come down. Does a player start a lair before they actually start an upgrade? Both players just making a couple of defensive Zerglings. I don't think anyone wants to be aggressive.
Yep. It's just probably gonna get a bit of an accelerated game in towards those Evo chamber upgrades and seeing what style people want to play with. Either missiles or some melee upgrades and stuff like that.
Yep. Serral actually the one going for an earlier lair, also a second gas. Now this lair is a little bit late for Muda, just a little bit, because if you get your lair if you want to go lair first Muda, it's not for a mind game because it's already obvious. Which means, okay, that's what I was about to say. This looks like a Nidus timed lair for me, so this looks like a 5 gas Nidus to me right now.
Okay. The Rotrons come down then. And we'll see the extra gas being taken from Serral on the natural.
Yeah, one really cute thing that Serral did here is he actually rallied the drones after he has 16 in the natural to the third base anyways, so it looks like he's playing standard. So he had 12 on the mineral line and 3 on the gas, and one obviously that made the earlier extractor. And just now he's saturating it and he's taking the gas on the third base. I'm pretty convinced that this is going into a Nidus, and what soO is doing against it is actually pretty good. soO is just playing standard, and as long as he doesn't go for over 66 drones, soO did not see the +1 starting, so he shouldn't even take a blind fourth base. As long as he just stays at 66 drones and makes roaches, he should be in a fine position.
As you see, one link coming forwards will be blocked from getting too far in. Obviously all the scouting you get there is a +1 missiles being seen in a roach speed, so obviously for soO it still looks pretty normal at the moment. Serral really making a lot of roaches here on the 55 drones. Getting ready to perhaps drop that Nidus down fairly soon if he's going to go for it.
soO doesn't know he's making 2 overseers on the fourth base. Now if I see my opponent has roach speed before me, and I went for a crisp build, I would expect that there is at least a high chance of it being a Nidus. And what you're supposed to do is, because you already see your opponent doesn't have a fourth base, you don't take your own fourth base until you see it.
Yeah.
Because it's risky, and you just morph in one overseer. He's immediately cancels the base. It is still very holdable after the Nidus nerf. Usually I would say this is already really good for Serral, but after the Nidus nerf I think there's good potential. So also already going to the main base with some links.
No, that's a nice little defense of Serral's lings that try to get up into the natural. The first Knight is just going to come out the front, so Serral just going to look to rally out here and push up into the third, but that's where there's going to be 2 spine crawlers. So soO defensively is in a pretty alright spot up this ramp. Queens, roaches, spines behind it, looking good. As you can see, those roaches popping out and starting to press forwards. There's Ravagers already here from soO as well, and Corrosive Fowls. Well, Serral eats a couple of them up in the top half of his roaches, and he's trying to push into this, but it's not looking great just yet. soO should just take a step back and fight with the spine crawlers. I mean, they're going to start getting shots now, but then Serral just stays out of range, and he's still just fighting, and his spine crawlers obviously not really being put to use as Nidus. I don't actually know where it went down, but I guess it's tonight.
Yeah, at the natural, and he denied it. Pretty good defense so far by soO, but the one mistake that he really did was fighting without the 2 spines for absolutely no reason, but by now he does have the same amount of units as Serral simply. So I think it's time for Serral to stop with the Nidus Worms, maybe start up another upgrade. It's not that bad, because soO needed to stop his upgrades, so he doesn't have an upgrade. He does find some decent trades at soO's third base, but for sure I think soO over time will just begin to hold this. Or as I say this,
yeah, nice.
a Nidus actually going up in the main base, soO slipping up for for once with his defense, and now Serral actually getting some economic damage done.
Yeah, gonna find himself 7 drones, and now gonna pull back away into that Nidus once again. And see more and more roaches just getting kills here. So 10 drones down, make that 11 Ravagers being picked away off, and now Serral really is picking soO apart a little bit. And obviously you're losing mining time as soO pulling drones off the line. I mean, he just doesn't have lava to spend his money, actually. So he's got 500, 600 that he just can't do anything with. And Serral is getting so many drone kills at this point because the drones are pulling in to try and tank for the Roach Ravager. And obviously it's just not working out. And soO is looking like he's going to be in a whole lot of trouble here. Serral just about able to make it work in the end.
Yeah, that was very nicely executed from Serral, and really just one mistake that cost soO the game there, which was the Nidus in the main base. Having no units there. In the end, he also lacked some injects. GG. As being called in the end, he lacked some injects because he put all the queens to the front, so he couldn't quite spend his money, but it was... Besides this fighting without the spine, and then letting units get up into the main, I think it was almost a flawless defense. So it's a little bit sad to see soO go out like that, because I think he played pretty well in this one.
GG, Serral 3-0 and goes through to the